At ALCOA's Warrick operations, we are striving to make safety a people issue. Day in, day out, people are being injured in our workplace. We know that there is no single factor that leads to these injuries, but we do know that most accidents are preventable. And more importantly, we know that every time an employee is injured, there is a rippling effect that goes through the family of that worker.
Well, at the time of my accident, I was doing a job with a small fork truck, and I had taken a piece of aluminum over and put it in one of the charge chutes, and I was coming back, and apparently this section of the floor, it was a scale, and apparently when I crossed the scale, it dropped down. It was just one of those things, something you do every day. I've done that same job or went over that same area, I guess, 100 times a day. It's just that one time, I guess I just caught it just right. And it threw me into the steering wheel, and also I had a seatbelt on at the time, but I didn't have it pulled tight, which was my fault. But I still had the seatbelt on at the time, and it just came to an abrupt halt, and it caused quite a bit of damage to my intestine, my large and small intestine, which later on turned worse since it went into peritonitis. I don't know if you know what that is. That's an infection you get when your bowel opens up and all that infection comes out of it, and it attacks your whole body. All your organisms and organs, it attacks everything, from your breathing to your heart to your kidneys to your lungs. It attacks everything. And I was lucky enough that I came through it, God willing, and I'm just happy to be here to give this video right now.
The line was not threaded. There were 3 rolls in the coder. They were turning very slowly, but the line was not running. The panic bar was in the up position. There was no guard over the coder. I was standing on the platform at the coder by myself, and I was touching the chrome applicator roll with my right hand, my dominant hand. The fact that there was no coating in the pan, I guess, caused me to cause a different sensation in the roll. We had done this many times before. The coders do it. I had done it with coating in the pan. You can touch the roll, and your hand pretty much stays in one position. However, with the rolls dry, while I was touching the roll, the next thing I knew, my finger was going into the nip point between the applicator roll, the top roll, and the metering roll. And of course, the rolls are under very high pressure. And at that point, it was as if time was suspended. My hand was, and my fingers were slowly going into the roll under extreme pressure. I started yelling and screaming. There were some fellas around the corner from me who came. 3 or 4 came at one time, and one hit the emergency stop button on a control panel. At the same time, I guess my feet kicked out from me. The stool went out, and a fellow grabbed me and held me up until they got the stool underneath me again. My hand was caught in the rolls up to about my thumb for approximately 7 minutes. And in the process of getting caught in the rolls, it degloved my hand. So I just took the flesh and just moved it back to my wrist. I lost all 4 fingers on my dominant hand. Subsequent to that accident, I've had 2 separate toe-to-hand transfers at Jewish Hospital in Louisville, Kentucky. I think that it's made me, as a result of this accident, I'm more aware of safety procedures and safety regulations within a company, but much more importantly than that, I appreciate now why those regulations are there, that they're for my benefit and not just there to harass me or to make me adhere to company regulations.
A lot of people out there thinks that, if you do get hurt, there's got to be blame put on somebody. We need to overcome that. It hurts me when somebody gets hurt, be it, if I know them or not. I still have that, deep down feeling that, they're a human being. And they have families out there just like I do.
one way we try to avoid or prevent accidents happening, we're trying to be proactive by identifying people's behaviors and the conditions and how those two come together. And what we do is, this is through like safety observations with Team Watch. And what we're doing there is we're trying to identify people's behaviors and the conditions that they work in. And at that point in time, we try to eliminate unsafe behaviors and or unsafe conditions to try and eliminate the potential of an injury happening.
The results of serious injuries bring change, not only for the worker, but for the family as well. Often, when an employee is hurt or disabled, the change is equally traumatic for the family. Many things that people took for granted are now things of the past.
Ever since I was little, I always loved to do things with my dad. I mean, we used to joke around, and I mean, anywhere we went, we especially loved camping. I mean, my all-time joy was going camping with my dad, because we used to throw each other in the lake, and my dad would lift me over his head, and I mean, all that's changed now. I mean, he's not the same person.
When I was in a hospital, laying there in bed, especially in the middle of the night, I would have flashbacks. I would actually see a recreation of my hand going into that shiny metering roll. That's all I would see, is my right hand going in. And that happened 2 or 3 times. And that sometimes would even happen in broad daylight when I was by myself. And it got to the point within the first month where I would see not only my injured hand going into those rolls, into that nip, but I would see my uninjured hand, my left hand, going in, and sometimes I would see both of them going in at the same time. So, and that's, as you can imagine, very disconcerting.
I think it's very hard for the family to adjust when somebody has a serious injury. Just from what I've seen, like in the emergency room, or dealing with it after the person is back home. Because it's like anybody who has a loved one, you know, when that person is hurt, you want answers, you know. And sometimes those answers are hard to accept, so they got to deal with those. They got to deal with the fact that maybe, for instance, the person doesn't have a hand anymore, or a finger, or they're going to walk with a limp for the rest of their life, or they're just physically, that person's going to be in pain for the rest of their life because of that accident, back pain, you know, things like that. So I think it's hard for the family, you know, from what I've seen and from what I've been around. It's difficult for them. I know it would be difficult for me if I was in their situation. I always try to put myself in their shoes.
So many of the injuries that happen here at Warrick could be prevented if we only took the time as individuals and as a team to look out for ourselves and each other.
Most all of these injuries, our fatalities, could have been prevented. It wasn't anything so complicated at all. Very simple. When you look back the next day, you can see what you could have done to have prevented this from happening. So that's tragic when you look back with just 5 or 6 or 8 people around a table, and they can all come up with a solution to this thing where it won't happen again. That's terrible. When you have this man with a broken arm or a finger missing or a fatality, and you could have done something about it, and you didn't. You weren't proactive.
You know, there's one thing about when a co-worker's hurt on the job, you get into this type of scenario, assuming it's a almost fatal accident and it's going to be off a long period of time. First of all, it's probably a friend or certainly an associate that you're talking about here. And you go by and you see him, and he'll tell you 1,000 times, boy, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I don't know why I done that. You know, I've done this way, and all of a sudden, I changed the routine, or I just don't know why I done it that way. And zap, just like that, here I sat. And if I could just do it over, it's affected my wife, it's affected the children, and it also affects the people that you work with. They would like to help you. You can throw dollars out there, but that doesn't really change much. What you need to change is back up the roll of life, the scroll of life, back it up and correct that situation, and you can't do that, it's impossible. So it's a very difficult situation to deal with.
I think it's made a lot of people who've been here for many years realize, you know, well, maybe it's not worth hurrying through this task. It's not worth seeing a guy lose his finger or get a laceration or, you know, a burn to the face or a chlorine inhalation type case or something like that. It's not worth the physical pain and suffering that you have to go through to save a couple minutes. So I think that, you know, Team Watch has really helped not only the new people in the divisions, but also the people, the very experienced and capable people that we have out there that have been out there for years.
The point over Team Watch is workers keeping workers safe. And to keep our injuries down, you know, we are going to have to watch each other. And this program will definitely do that.
I think the program's good. The fact that someone's there and they're aware of what they're doing may prevent my husband from getting hurt. And if they work safely, then that's going to prevent somebody else from getting hurt maybe.
Well, I think Team Watch is good because if you see somebody doing something wrong, you should go up to them and tell them to be careful and don't do that because you could get hurt, and having people watch over other people.
It pains me every time I have to look into the face of another ALCOA employee that suffered a serious injury because I know what their family and their loved ones are going to be in for. And I would hope no one has to look into my face and that I would be an accident statistic. It's always difficult when we go out and pick someone up with the ambulance in the event of a serious injury or burn, in that a lot of times we know the people. Almost always we'll be acquainted with the person. So you're aware that they have a family, wife, children. A lot of times we'll know their children. So it's always something that you're conscious of the fact that if it's a serious injury, something that you know is going to have a long-lasting effect on that person. A lot of times I'll think to myself, gosh, I'm lucky that this is them and not me. I guess that's kind of a terrible thought, but in thinking about your own family, you wouldn't want something like that to happen to take you away from them.
Accidents are about people and their families. The things we do today as a company and as individuals can make a difference. It is a matter of commitment.
And I found that through the safety program in our department, our plant-wide, whatever I touched in the way of safety here at Warrick seemed to fill a need inside me. And I think what that need was, I wanted to know that I was going to leave something here at Warrick other than just saying that I was here. When I was baking anodes, those anodes we used, that we baked, were used up in the pot room, and they were gone. And we baked more, and they were gone. And that was okay, and it was a very necessary part of doing business, and I understood that. But what I really wanted to do was to leave a part of me here, some of my thoughts here.
If there's a way to do it safe, it's going to be done safe. You know, at least I'm going to do everything in my power to make it as risk-free as possible. Because I do not think, and I do not believe in my heart that there's anything out here worth risking a life for. Nothing. Nothing.
Well, I think the company right now is, some of the things they're doing is making it safer. They've done a lot, like I said, over years. They've come a long way in their strides for making it safer in there. And I feel they're going to have to strive even harder. The people on the floor don't have to strive harder to make it safe. Like I said, we're going to have to work as a team to make it safe. Everybody's going to have to work at it.
I'm just glad he's here today. I hope somebody else can be as, I don't want this to happen to anybody else or their families. Because what I went through, I thought, I don't want to go through this again. I don't want anybody else either. I think safety is real important.